Ah, Shello, my fellow Terrapins. Turtle here. You expected me to be surprised again? Well, you know how the old saying goes, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on you, and fool me three times is not gonna happen because I already figured out your stupid little plan. Anyways, I'm glad you're able to follow me here, because today I take a break from my not-secret mission to investigate a very important question to our community. Is Stardew Valley a tactical game? Some of you right off the bat might be screaming, no! Or this is stupid. Or why is there a pixelated man on my screen? And to that I say, sit down, shut up, and join me as I answer or ignore all of those questions plus more as we go into this journey together to determine if Stardew Valley is allowed in our Steam libraries. First off, to determine if something is tactical, we must first learn what that something is. So, what is Stardew Valley? Well, Stardew Valley is a farming simulation game where you play as a lone farmer who left the boring city life in search for a more meaningful existence on a farm inherited by your dead grandfather in an unknown and totally not ruled by Cthulhu area called Stardew Valley. Here is where you will grow your farm and interact and build relationships with other members of the valley. Every day you make yourself tasks by growing crops, mining ore, fishing, foraging, and or yelling at non-existent NPCs for not opening their store on a Wednesday, forcing you to work the weekends. There's also quests or missions given by the locals of Stardew Valley that will reward you with small amounts of cash, but more importantly, relationship points, which any individual slightly versed in the ways of the valley understand that this is the real currency that you're after. Finally, there's also a community center that you must rebuild by sacrificing various crops and other products that you've worked your butt off for, so that little green Martians can take those sacrifices and use it as magical fuel to rebuild not only the community center, but also the valley itself. Feel like you're in a fever dream yet? Good! So now that we all understand the basic premise of the game, we can discuss what may or may not allow this game to be considered tactical. Okay, so before we determine what will or will not make this game tactical, let's first determine what tactics are. According to the current Merriam-Webster online website, because we all know they change their definitions daily so they can better manipulate the world to do their evil bidding, the current definition of tactics can be one of three things. 1. The science and art of disposing and maneuvering forces in combat, or the art or skill of employing available means to accomplish an end. 2. A system or mode of procedure. Or 3. The study of the grammatical relations within a language including morphology and syntax. After consideration to give the best chances to Stardew Valley, we will be using definitions 1b and 2 as a foundation for this investigation. Now, knowing what definitions our investigation will be based on, we can formulate our foundation question for our research. If the mechanics of Stardew Valley adhere and match the chosen definitions of tactics, then we can conclude that Stardew Valley is a tactical experience and therefore can be considered a tactical game. So with this in mind, what mechanics of Stardew Valley could allow this game to be considered tactical? Well, let's start off with our first definition. The art or skill of employing available means to an end. In Stardew Valley, your end goal is whatever you decide it to be, so determining your end in this definition can be a bit tricky. But for this investigation, we'll be using a set end to give ourselves a better foundation. Our end that we'll be choosing for this definition will be completing the community center. This is something that you typically need to do every time you play the game, and it has requirements from every season and every aspect of the game, so it's a great goal to use as our end to base everything else off of for this investigation. So now that we have an end, let's focus on the art or skill of employing available means portion of our definition. As a player in Stardew Valley, you have many arts and skills to use at your disposal. You have the innate ability to grow and use just about any piece of crop and or equipment related to farming, fermenting, beekeeping, and many other things. Not to mention your ability to fish can be easily honed, and you can turn immense profits in a single day. You can also cook quite excellently, but above all, your skill as a player to create schedules and excel of every NPC so you know their every move, and your collaboration with other players just like you to found and exploit a Stardew Valley wiki is your ultimate skill that you will utilize every minute of the game. Because we all know, if you've ever played this game before, the NPCs can be very, very irritating by not being where they're supposed to be. With this knowledge, we now know that you can employ these skills to generate the means needed to complete the tasks required by the community center. You can do this by growing the specific crops needed, locating and catching the exact fish you're looking for, turning immense profits in a short amount of time using knowledge, strong planning, and strategy to build structures that are required to raise animals and use them for nothing more but the products they produce with ease. In conclusion, according to the definition of tactics that state, the art or skill of employing available means to an end, Stardew Valley can be considered a tactical experience, and therefore, a tactical game. That's just one of the two definitions we decided to use, however. So, to further solidify our findings, let's begin another investigation, but with the second definition as our foundation instead. According to the second definition of tactics, the item in question must be a system or mode of procedure. Jumping back into Stardew Valley, let's see if there's anything that matches this definition. Right off the bat, I can think of one major aspect that follows this definition almost exactly, that being the growing of crops. Growing crops is a huge aspect of Stardew Valley, and is one of the most notable, profitable, and potentially efficient ways to make money in the game. How exactly does this fit the definition, though? Well, at its core, there is a procedure that must be followed to grow crops. You must till the soil, plant the seed, water the crop, and gather the crop once it's fully grown. So, in its base form, growing crops in Stardew Valley technically uses tactics. But I know there's some skeptics out there, and it's not really solid evidence since it's really simple and repetitive, so let's investigate further. Breaking it down, there are 4 seasons each year in Stardew Valley, just as in real life. But there are only 4 months in a year, as opposed to 12. So each month is a different season in the game. This is important to remember because of a few things. Each crop has a specific season that it grows in, and all crops die at the end of each season, unless it's a crop that can grow in the season following or is planted in the greenhouse. This means that to maximize the profits of that season, you have to know exactly what crops can be planted each season, how long each crop takes to grow, the profit if sold in its base form, what you plan to do with the crop, how many days do you have in that season, are there any special events that will take up your day, do you have any sprinklers, if so how many, how much space can you work before becoming exhausted, along with so many other aspects. With how this game is structured, it's not an automatic process or checklist that is given to you every season. It doesn't give you a deadline for when each crop needs to be grown. It doesn't hand you the seeds, it doesn't outline where you plant your crops, it doesn't hold your hand or guide you in any way. If it did, then I would agree that Stardew Valley doesn't involve tactics. However, that's not the case. Every season, on day 1, the player must develop their own system or mode of procedure to effectively and efficiently grow their crops, for whatever reason the player deems important. With this in mind, using the exact second definition of tactics, we can conclude that Stardew Valley requires players to develop tactics by creating a system or mode of procedure to grow their crops at the beginning of each season. According to this statement, with the second definition, it can be said that Stardew Valley is indeed a tactical experience and therefore a tactical game. In this investigation, we covered what the game Stardew Valley is, the definition of tactics, and formulated a hypothesis to be used as a foundation for our investigation. Our hypothesis was, if the mechanics of Stardew Valley adhere and match the chosen definition of tactics, then we can conclude that Stardew Valley is a tactical experience, and therefore can be considered a tactical game. According to our results of our investigations, we are able to safely adjudge that Stardew Valley involves tactics within its mechanics, and can therefore be considered a tactical game. Meaning that the individuals of the tactical gaming community are allowed to have Stardew Valley in their Steam library. And this also means that I can make Stardew Valley content as a tactical gaming channel because therefore it's tactical, as we've just proven. And this definitely wasn't my main intention. I definitely wanted you guys to be able to have Stardew Valley in your Steam library, and not so I can make Stardew Valley content. Once again, my fellow Terrapins, I'm Turtle, and thank you for joining me on this investigation. Yes, I know it's not the secret mission, but hey, I still think it's needed to be done. And if there are any other games you deem need investigated, leave it down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time as you inevitably follow me to wherever I go against my will. That means you can leave until you follow me again. Get out of here.